Alright guys, I'm back with another banger video. In this one we'll talk about how you can leverage positioning to grow your brand and to separate yourself from the competition to hopefully make more sales. Now, we've discussed this topic briefly in the last video. However, in this one we'll dive much deeper and explore these concepts in a more detailed way. So, I'm excited to share this knowledge with you, and if you're ready, let's jump straight into the video. So, let's discuss first what is positioning and why it's so important. Now, as I said in the last video, positioning means how people perceive your brand in relation to other products and brands in your marketplace, okay? This is the fundamental thing that makes a business essentially a business. But why? For your brand to be successful, you need to ground yourself in reality. In marketing and in branding in general, the only reality that exists is what your customers think. Now, this topic is not about being objective, or the positioning is not about where you sit objectively in the market, okay? It's about where you sit in customers' minds. Now, we are living in an attention economy. Nowadays, there are just too many products, offers, and competitors out there, and we are basically an over-communicated society. So what happens is, most people's minds reject much of this information that is being communicated to them. So, the only way to separate yourself from others is through gaining a unique position in the mind. The brands that fail to achieve this are destined to fail. Since so little of our advertising and messaging go into the customers' minds, we need to pick the messaging that has the best chance of getting through. And what has a better chance than something a prospect perceives as painful? So, this is why when creating positioning, we need to start with what is already in the customer's mind and then work our way up from there. Now, this is all cool, but how do you actually gain a unique position in the mind? That's the important question. As I said, the best chance we have for gaining a unique position is to start with what's already there. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have constant back pain, alright? And I'm a painkiller seller, I'm a drug seller. I want to sell you a painkiller, and I need to figure out a way how I can sell you this. Now, which will give me a higher chance? Positioning this product for back pain or for headache? Even though this is a very simple example, it gets my point across very clearly. The prospects don't think like, oh, this dude says it's for headaches, but I'm sure it will work on my back pain too. Although it will, most painkillers use the same mechanisms. They automatically think that the painkiller advertised as a solution for back pain is for back pain, and it is better. They don't even think about the other pill, which is almost exactly the same thing, but it is for headaches in their mind. Okay? So, the point I'm making here is to have the best chance. I know I keep saying this over and over again, but I need you to understand this completely. To have the best chance, we need to start with what's already there and then work our way up from there. But how do you know what's already in the customer's mind? Obviously, you can't crack their head open. And even if you did, you wouldn't see anything. But that's another story. We get this information through market research. So what is market research? Market research basically means gathering information about your target market. There's no need to overcomplicate this stuff. It's just gathering information about your target market. Now, people avoid doing market research because they either think they don't need it or they think it is very boring or very painful. Now, first of all, whether you do market research or not, the market will judge your product, whether you like it or not. Our only goal here is to learn everything we can about the market beforehand, before this judgment, so this judgment turns out in our favor. That's all we are trying to achieve. The second thing is, market research is not difficult at all. It's not rocket science. All you are doing is finding information about a topic on the internet and then storing this information on a Google Doc, for example. Obviously, it can be more than that, but that is the basic premise. Now, let's dive deeper and apply the first principles concept to market research. To do this, we first need to look at what the individual words mean. Okay? Research is fairly simple. It's the act of gathering information. But how about market? What does market actually mean? According to Oxford Dictionary, here's what market means. A regular gathering of people for the purchase and sale of provisions, livestock, and other commodities. So, from this definition, we can understand that to have a market, we need to have, first, we need to have people. Second, we need to have a commodity. Third, we need to have competitors, otherwise it will just be a single transaction. And fourth, we need a transaction. These are what constitute market research. These four things are the individual parts of market. Sorry, not market research, market. So by this definition, doing market research just means gathering information about these four parts, four elements. It wasn't that hard, was it? Now, let's talk about how we can do this research. We'll start with the competitor part. Competitor analysis. As I said, competitors are one of the key elements of our market. So, to do a proper market research, we first need to do a proper competitor research. Some people like to call this competitor analysis, but it doesn't matter. Now, there are no certain rules on how to do competitor research. It's completely up to you, basically. What you're doing is you are trying to gather as much data as you can about your competitors. This could be their products, it could be their pricing points, it could be their offers, it could be their marketing campaigns, or it could even be their social media posts, or even social media captions. So basically everything you can find about your competitors, everything you can find and everything you can use. There are no rights or wrongs here. That being said, there are certain things that every analysis needs to have, in my opinion. These are: who are your competitors? We first need to know who your direct and indirect competitors are. The difference between direct and indirect competitors are direct competitors selling the same product as you, while indirect competitors are selling a different product but in the same industry. For example, if you're selling leggings, a direct competitor would be another brand that sells leggings. Indirect competitor will be a brand that sells clothing. Okay? Now, we need to know about our competitors. Who are they? We need to know about who are their target customers. We need to know about how do they position themselves in the market. We need to know about which channels do they use for advertising. We need to know about how do they advertise their products, what are their offers, which products do they promote. We need to know about their pricing points, and we also need to know about what their customers think about their products. Now, I know that this list is far from complete, but if you're new to the stuff, it will give you a good starting point. Alright, that's its purpose. This is by no means a complete list, but it'll just give you a good starting point. And the more research you do, the more you'll start to notice the details and things that matter. Now, our purpose with competitor research is basically to gain a bird's eye view of the market. It'll help us see how other brands position themselves and notice the existing gaps in the market. Now, let's move on to the next step and talk about defining the ideal customer profile. To do this, we first need to talk about what does the ideal customer profile mean. It is exactly what it sounds like. It is your ideal customer. But why is this important? Because, as we said above, to create a unique position, we need to start with what's already in their mind. And to achieve this, we need to be able to see the world from our customers' perspectives. We need to know about how do they perceive our products. We need to know about how they perceive our competitors, the market, what do they struggle with their daily lives, what they desire, etc. The better you can do this and the better you can emphasize with your customers, the more precise your messaging will be, which will feel familiar to your customers, which will make them feel more understood, which will help you make more sales. Now, I want to touch on one of the biggest misconceptions in the industry. Ideal customer profile, or ISP for short, is not something static, meaning that it can and it should change as you learn more about your customer or as your brand gets bigger. What your ICP looks like now and what it will look like a year from now will probably be very different, and that is actually how it should be. Otherwise, you're either not growing or you are not learning enough about your customers. Let me give you an example here. Think about your friends. The person you meet the first time is a very different person after you meet them, for example, like the 10th time. As you learn more about that person, his or her position in your mind changes. So the more you spend time with them, the more you learn about them. Now, at this point, we are ready to talk about the brand positioning statement. You'll see how everything comes together to create a strong statement. So, brand positioning statement is basically an internal file that defines what makes your brand unique in the marketplace. The purpose of this document is to give you clarity both internally and externally to guide your decisions and actions in the brand. It also helps you keep the communication consistent across all channels, which is super important if you are outsourcing certain parts of the business, which is something you have to do as you grow. So, for example, if you're hiring an agency, you need to have a clear brand positioning statement for them to understand your messaging and communicate it clearly to the customers. Okay? Now, a good positioning statement should include what your brand does, who does it for, how it differentiates from the competitors, and what is the unique way that it does the thing it's doing. So, when I was searching for different brand positioning statements, I came across some examples that are not good brand positioning statements at all. So I thought maybe we can go over them and see how it shouldn't be like, and it will give you a better understanding. Let's start with the first example. To bring the best user experience to its customers through innovative hardware, software, and services. So this is actually, at least the website claims, this as a statement of a very big computer brand. Now, why is this actually not a brand positioning statement? Well, can you tell which company this belongs to just by looking at it? I don't think so. This could be any computer brand out there. It could even be my own computer brand that doesn't even exist, or any other technology brand for that matter, and you wouldn't notice it. It's just generic words that don't mean anything lined up one after another. To bring the best user experience to its customers through innovative hardware, software, and services. What does that even mean? It doesn't mean anything. So in case you were wondering, the website claimed it was Apple's positioning statement, but I highly doubt that because Apple is or has one of the best positioning in the overall market. Now let's look at another example. This one goes like, to be the world's best beverage company. Again, which brand does this remind you of? It's not Coca-Cola, by the way. You see, you can't tell which brand this belongs to just by looking at it. I can set up a beverage brand today and use this as my positioning statement and you wouldn't even notice it. Like, this might not even exist and you wouldn't notice it. So in case you were wondering, the website claimed this was Pepsi's positioning statement, but again, I highly doubt it was, because Pepsi was famous for targeting young audiences. So I don't actually think this was the Pepsi's positioning statement. Now let's look at a proper example, which is Amazon's. For consumers who want to purchase a wide range of products online, we have our a wide range of products online with quick delivery, we have our customer. Amazon provides a one-stop online shopping site. What the company does? Amazon sets itself apart from other online retailers with its customer obsession, passion for innovation, and commitment to operational excellence. Now, you see how it separates itself from the competition, and you actually see what the brand does. So this statement is the perfect example of how a statement should be. It has everything correct. You can see just by looking at this who the target audience is, what the brand does, and how it separates itself from the competition. So compare this one with the one that supposedly belongs to Pepsi and you'll see the difference between. So as we can understand, a good statement should be specific to our brand. When someone looks at your statement, they should immediately be able to figure out that this is your brand. For example, in the above example, even if I remove the company name, even if I remove the Amazon word, you can easily tell this statement belongs to Amazon. So this is what I mean by a positioning statement. It should define where you are in the marketplace or where you are targeting in the marketplace very clearly. Because if you can't even see this clearly yourself, how can you expect your workers, your employees, or your customers see it? It doesn't make sense. So guys, I really hope this video was helpful. Like if you enjoyed the content, subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. And if you own an athleisure brand that is doing less than 50k per month, that means we can work together. I'll put a link in the description for you to book a call. And yeah, that is it. So see you guys in the next video. Cheers.